The bedroom door swung open with such force it slammed against the wall, and there they were. My husband Chukwemeka and my cousin Ngozi, tangled in our marital bed like they owned it. The silk sheets I'd bought last Christmas bunched around their naked bodies. What would you do if you walked in on this? Hit like if you've been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. Amara. Chukwemeka scrambled up, his dark skin glistening with sweat, eyes wide with shock. It's not what it looks like. I heard my voice, cold and distant, as if it belonged to someone else. In our bed, Emeka? With my own cousin. Ngozi had the audacity to smirk, pulling the sheet over her chest. You were never enough for him, Amara. A woman who can't even keep a job. The slap came before I even realized my hand had moved. The crack echoed through our Ikoyi apartment, 3 floors up in one of Lagos's most prestigious buildings. My palm stung, but not as much as my heart. Get out, I whispered, my voice shaking. Both of you. Now. But Chukwemeka stood, pulling on his boxers with infuriating calmness. No, Amara. You get out. This is my house. My name on the deed. And since you lost that fancy banking job 2 months ago, you contribute nothing. The words hit like physical blows. Yes, I'd been let go from Zenith Bank, part of their restructuring, they'd said. 23 executives cut in one sweep. But I'd been too proud to tell him the whole truth. Too scared of his reaction. I've been looking. For 2 months. He laughed, cruel and sharp. While I pay for everything. The mortgage, the car, your expensive tastes? No, Amara. I'm done. Pack your things. You have until tomorrow. My hands trembled as I looked at Ngozi, who now sat up fully, shameless. We'd grown up together in Enugu, shared secrets, supported each other through university. She'd been my maid of honor 3 years ago. How long? I asked quietly. 6 months, Ngozi said, examining her manicured nails. Since your promotion party, actually. You were so busy celebrating your success, you didn't notice me celebrating with your husband in the coat room. The room spun. 6 months. Half a year of lies, of coming home to kisses that tasted of betrayal, of Sunday dinners where she sat across from us, smiling. Leave, Amara. Chukwemeka's voice had gone flat. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce. Don't make this uglier than it needs to be. I walked to our closet, my closet, and pulled out my Prada bag. The one I'd bought with my last bonus. My hands moved mechanically, grabbing my laptop, my documents, my jewelry box. The diamond earrings from our wedding. The gold bracelet from my grandmother. The jewelry stays, Emeka said. I paid for most of it. My grandmother's bracelet? I turned, fire finally replacing the ice in my veins. The one that's been in my family for 4 generations? He shrugged. Prove it. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to make them feel even a fraction of this pain. But instead, I smiled. A real smile that made Ngozi's smirk falter. Keep it all, I said softly. The jewelry, the apartment, the cars. You've earned it, Emeka. Something in my tone made him frown. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I zipped my bag, my movements calm now. Absolutely nothing. As I walked toward the door, I heard Ngozi whisper, "That was too easy." "She's broken," Emeka replied. "Finally knows her place." I paused at the threshold, looking back at them one last time. They looked so satisfied, so certain of their victory. They had no idea what I'd been hiding for the past 8 weeks. No clue about the real reason Zenith Bank had let me go, or rather, why I'd orchestrated my own exit. "Goodbye, Emeka," I said. "Enjoy your new life." His eyes narrowed. "Why are you so calm?" I didn't answer. I just walked out, my heels clicking against the marble floor, each step taking me further from the life I'd known and closer to the one I'd been secretly building. The elevator doors closed on their confused faces. As I descended, I pulled out my phone. 12 missed calls from Adebayo, my lawyer. 32 emails marked urgent. And one text message that made me smile despite everything: the Dubai deal closed. 52 million USD wired to your offshore account. Congratulations, Mrs. Okafor. You're officially a multi-millionaire. Let them have the apartment. Let them have the cars and the jewelry and their shallow victory. They'd taken everything I'd shown them. But they had no clue what I'd hidden. The revenge I'd spent 2 months planning was just beginning. And by the time I was done, Chukwuemeka would wish he'd never pushed me out that door. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think Amara's hiding? Drop your guesses in the comments below, and if you're loving this domestic betrayal drama already, subscribe and share it with someone who can't resist a good revenge story. The hotel suite at Eco Hotel overlooked the Lagos Lagoon, the city lights twinkling like scattered diamonds in the darkness. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, a glass of Chardonnay in my hand, and finally let the tears come. Not for Emeka. Not for the marriage that had clearly been dead long before today. But for the woman I'd been, naive enough to trust, foolish enough to believe that love and loyalty meant something. My phone buzzed. Mama. Amara, your cousin just called me. Said you attacked her in your home? What is this madness? I closed my eyes. Of course Ngozi had gotten to her first. Mama, I need to tell you something. Not now. I'm at the hospital with your father. His blood pressure is up again. Her voice cracked. Please, my daughter. Whatever is happening with Emeka, fix it quietly. We can't afford stress right now. Your father's medical bills are paid, Mama. All of them. For the next year. Silence. Then, what? I'll explain later. Just rest. Tell Papa I love him. I hung up before she could ask more questions. The medical bills had been the first thing I'd handled when the money came through last month. 200,000 naira monthly for Papa's dialysis, his medications, the private nurses. I'd set up an automatic payment system that would run for 5 years if needed. Emeka had never known about the payments. I'd started them 3 months into our marriage when Papa got sick. My salary had covered it then, barely. When I lost my job, when I strategically exited, I dipped into my emergency fund while setting up something far bigger. My laptop chimed. Video call from Funka Delik, my former colleague and current business partner. Amara. Her face filled the screen, beautiful and sharp in her home office in Victoria Island. I saw the transfer. We're really doing this. We're really doing this, I confirmed, settling onto the suite's plush couch. Funk had been the one to approach me 6 months ago with the idea. A fintech startup focusing on women entrepreneurs across West Africa. Microloans, financial literacy programs, investment opportunities. We'd both seen the gap in the market, the thousands of women struggling to access capital. But you'll need to leave Zenith, she'd said. No conflicts of interest. And we'll need serious capital. That's when I'd made the call to Adebayo Lawson, my lawyer and childhood friend. I need you to help me build something. And I need it done quietly. Over the next 4 months, while Emeka thought I was working late, I was meeting with investors in Dubai. While he thought I was at conferences, I was in Accra negotiating partnerships with Ghanaian banks. While my cousin was sleeping with my husband, I was building an empire. The severance package from Zenith had been generous, 12 million naira for my years of service. I'd used it as seed money, leveraging my network and reputation to secure meetings with venture capitalists across 3 continents. The Dubai investors loved your pitch, Funk said now, practically glowing. They want in for another 20 million in the next round. And the Kenyan group called, they're interested too. Good. I sipped my wine. Because we're going to need it. I want to launch in 6 countries within 18 months. Ambitious. Funk grinned. I like it. But Amara, are you okay? Really? I thought about the question. Was I okay? My marriage was over. My cousin had betrayed me. I'd been thrown out of my home like trash. But I had $52 million. A business that could change thousands of lives. And a plan for revenge that would destroy Chukwuemeka piece by piece. I'm more than okay, I said. I'm free. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and pulled up the file I'd been building for weeks. Evidence. Screenshots. Bank statements. Everything I'd need for what came next. See, Chukwuemeka thought he was so clever. Thought I didn't notice the money disappearing from our joint account. Thought I didn't see the second phone he kept in his car. Thought I was too wrapped up in my career to pay attention to his. But I'd been paying attention. Very close attention. Those late-night business meetings. I had photos. The money he'd been transferring to Ngozi's account. I had records. The investment property he'd bought in her name using funds from our joint savings. I had the deed. And the piece de resistance, the embezzlement from his construction company. 3 million naira skimmed from client accounts over 6 months. I had everything. Invoices, emails, the offshore account he thought was untraceable. My phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Okafor? A woman's voice, professional but warm. This is Detective Kayamaka Nwosu from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. My heart skipped. Too soon. I hadn't filed the report yet. There's been a complaint filed against your husband's company. Fraud allegations. We'd like to speak with you as a witness. Would tomorrow work? I smiled slowly. Someone else had gotten there first. One of Emeka's victims, probably. The developer whose deposit had vanished. Or the client whose building materials never arrived. Tomorrow works perfectly, I said. I have some information that might interest you. After we set the meeting time, I stood and walked back to the window. Somewhere out there, in that Ikoyi apartment, Emeka and Ngozi were probably celebrating. Toasting their victory. Planning their future with my supposed money. They had no idea the floor was about to drop out from under them. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Saw you leave. He's already planning to freeze your accounts. Wants you to have nothing. Thought you should know. A friend. A friend. I didn't recognize the number. But the warning was clear. I quickly opened my banking app. The joint account showed 2.3 million naira, all that remained of our shared finances. As I watched, the balance changed. Refreshed. 0. He'd already done it. I laughed, the sound sharp in the quiet suite. Let him have it. Let him think he'd won. That 2.3 million was pocket change compared to what I had secured offshore. Legal, documented, untouchable. But this move told me everything I needed to know. Emeka wasn't just done with me. He wanted to destroy me. Wanted me to come crawling back, broken and desperate. Another text, same unknown number. He's bragging to his friends that you're finished. Says you'll be begging in a week. I'm sorry. I thought you should know what kind of man he really is. Who was this? Someone from his office? A friend who'd grown a conscience? I typed back, thank you. But don't worry about me. I'm far from finished. The dots appeared, showing they were typing, then stopped. No response. I pulled up Adebayo's contact. I need you to file the divorce papers tomorrow morning. And I need you to include every piece of evidence we've gathered. Every transaction, every property, every lie. Amara, are you sure? Once we file, there's no going back. It'll get ugly. It's already ugly, Ade. I'm just making sure everyone sees it. After we hung up, I poured another glass of wine and opened my laptop. Time to start drafting the social media posts that would go live in 72 hours. The truth about Chukwuemeka Okafor, beloved son, respected businessman, pillar of the community. The truth about who he really was. My phone buzzed again. This time, Ngozi's number. Having fun playing the victim, her message read. Everyone knows you drove him to it. Cold, career-obsessed wife who couldn't even give him children. You deserved this. Children. The knife twisted deeper. We'd been trying for 2 years. Every negative test had been another failure, Another disappointment. Emeka had been supportive then, or so I'd thought. Now I wondered if he'd been faithful even then. If those business trips had hidden other betrayals. Other women. I didn't respond to Ngozi. Instead, I forwarded her message to Adebayo with a note, "Add this to the file. Evidence of emotional abuse." The city lights blurred as tears filled my eyes again. Not for them, but for the life I'd imagined. The children we'd never have. The family we'd never be. But then I remembered the women who'd benefit from my company. The daughters who'd go to school on microloans. The mothers who'd start businesses and feed their families. The future I could build that mattered more than my broken past. A knock at the door startled me. Room service? I hadn't ordered anything. Through the peephole, I saw a man in a delivery uniform holding a large envelope. "Mrs. Okafor? Special delivery." I opened the door cautiously, taking the envelope. "Who's this from?" "No name, ma'am. Just instructions to deliver it tonight." After he left, I opened the envelope. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Emeka and Ngozi at restaurants, hotels, even at my parents' house during Christmas. And at the bottom, a note in handwriting I didn't recognize. "You deserve to know the truth. He's been planning to leave you for 6 months. The job loss was just his excuse. He's been telling people you're mentally unstable, preparing everyone to take his side. Don't let him win. Someone who knows what it's like to be betrayed." My hands shook as I spread the photos across the coffee table. Evidence I hadn't even known I needed. Proof that this betrayal ran deeper than one afternoon in our bedroom. This was calculated. Planned. A long con to paint me as the villain while he rode off into the sunset with my cousin. Comment your thoughts on this betrayal. Was Ngozi's text message the cruelest part, or was it Emeka freezing the accounts? And if someone sent you anonymous evidence like this, would you trust it? Hit subscribe to see how Amara uses these photos in her revenge. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's office in Ikoyi was nothing like I'd imagined. No dramatic interrogation rooms like in the movies. Just a modest conference room with fluorescent lights and the smell of stale coffee. Detective Kayamaka Nwosu was younger than she'd sounded on the phone, maybe 35, with sharp eyes behind her glasses and a no-nonsense demeanor. She laid out photos of Emeka across the table, surveillance shots from what looked like months of investigation. "Mrs. Okafor, how much do you know about your husband's business dealings?" I'd rehearsed this. Stay calm. Appear cooperative but hurt. A wife betrayed, not a woman seeking revenge. He told me he ran a construction company. Import-export on the side. I didn't ask many questions. I trusted him. Kayamaka's expression softened slightly. "We've been investigating Okafor Global Construction for 8 months, following a trail of complaints from clients, suppliers, and subcontractors. Money paid for materials that never arrived. Projects abandoned mid-construction. Always an excuse, always a delay." She pulled out a bank statement. But the money didn't disappear. It went somewhere. Transferred through multiple accounts, carefully laundered, then she paused. "Mrs. Okafor, did you know your husband has a second property in Lekki? A mansion worth 70 million naira. My shock wasn't entirely feigned. I'd known about property in Ngozi's name, but not this. "No. We live in Ikoyi." Not anymore, apparently. Kayamaka slid over another photo. Emeka and Ngozi at a construction site, reviewing blueprints. "This property is registered to a shell company. But we traced it back. Your husband is the sole beneficiary." The pieces clicked together. All those late nights, those business trips. He hadn't just been cheating, he'd been building a whole new life. "The property was purchased 2 years ago," Kayamaka continued. "Shortly after your wedding. 2 years. Our entire marriage had been a lie. Mrs. Okafor, I need to ask, did you benefit from any of this? Did he give you expensive gifts, unexplained money?" I met her eyes. "Detective, 3 days ago I walked in on my husband in bed with my cousin. Yesterday, he threw me out of our home and froze our joint accounts, leaving me with nothing. If he was stealing money, I never saw a single naira of it. Something in my voice must have convinced her. Kayamika nodded slowly. I'm sorry you're going through this. But I need to be clear, our investigation may also examine your finances. Standard procedure. Of course. I pulled out my phone. I can provide you with my bank statements, tax returns, employment records from Zenith Bank. I have nothing to hide. What I didn't mention was that my offshore accounts were perfectly legal. Money earned from legitimate investments, documented and declared. Emika's money was dirty. Mine was clean. Kayamika's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then stood abruptly. Excuse me for a moment. After she left, I noticed a file folder partially visible under her notepad. The tab read, Okafor, Additional Persons of Interest. I shouldn't look. But my hand moved before my conscience could stop it. I flipped it open just enough to see the first page. Ngozi Okoro, my cousin, listed as a possible accomplice. And below that, another name that made my blood run cold, Amara Okafor, status, under review. I quickly closed the folder, heart pounding. They were investigating me too. Of course they were. I was his wife. His business partner in name, if not in practice. When Kayamika returned, her expression had shifted. More guarded. Mrs. Okafor, I've just been informed that your husband filed a complaint this morning. He claims you stole money from your joint accounts before leaving. What? The word came out sharper than intended. He froze my accounts. I have proof. He claims you withdrew 2.3 million naira yesterday afternoon before he could freeze them. Says you've been threatening him, that you're mentally unstable following the loss of your job. There it was. The anonymous note had been right. He'd been laying groundwork, building a narrative where I was the villain. That's a lie. I pulled up my banking app, showed her the timestamps. He froze the accounts yesterday evening. I was already in a hotel by then. I didn't withdraw anything. He transferred it himself. Kayamika studied the screen, then nodded. I'll need copies of this. But Mrs. Okafor, I have to ask, where are you getting money for that hotel suite? Eco Hotel isn't cheap, and if you've been unemployed for 2 months. I received a severance package from Zenith Bank. 12 million naira. I've been living on that. The truth, but not all of it. I have the documentation if you need it. We will need it. Kayamika's tone had shifted completely. Professional distance instead of sympathy. Mrs. Okafor, I'm going to be direct. Your husband is painting a picture of a vengeful, unstable wife who's been bleeding him dry for months. He has witnesses, friends, colleagues, even family members who say you've been acting erratic. Family members, I repeated bitterly. Let me guess. My cousin Ngozi? Kayamika didn't answer, which was answer enough. I stood, gathering my bag. Detective Nwosu, I came here voluntarily to cooperate with your investigation. I've offered full transparency. But I won't sit here and be accused of crimes my husband committed. If you want to investigate me, fine. You'll find I have nothing to hide. But while you're investigating, ask yourself why a man who claims his wife stole from him is living in a 70 million naira mansion he never mentioned to her. I was at the door when Kayamika called out. Mrs. Okafor. Off the record, I've seen men like your husband before. Men who think they're untouchable. They usually have one weakness. Something they can't control, can't manipulate. I turned back. What's that? The truth. She held my gaze. It always comes out eventually. The question is whether it destroys everyone around it, or just the guilty party. I walked out of that office with my head high, but my hands were shaking. I'd expected accusations from Emika. I hadn't expected him to be so thorough, so calculating. He wasn't just leaving me. He was trying to destroy me first. Make sure I had no credibility, no allies, no way to fight back. My phone rang. Mama. Amara, I just had a visit from your husband. He's very worried about you. Says you've been acting strange, making threats. Is this true? Mama, he's lying. He said you attacked Ngozi. That you've been stealing from him. Amara, what is happening? This isn't like you. Because it's not true. Mama, please. I need you to trust me. Silence. Then, Ngozi is family. Emeka is your husband. You're asking me to believe they're both lying. The betrayal cut deeper than anything Emeka had done. My own mother, choosing to believe them over me. I have to go, Mama. Amara, wait. I hung up. Stood on the Lego street, traffic roaring around me, people bustling past, and felt utterly alone. My phone buzzed. Text from the unknown number that had been sending me information. He's moving fast. Plans to have you declared mentally incompetent. Trying to get power of attorney over your finances. Meeting with a psychiatrist friend tomorrow to build a medical case. You need to move faster. I stared at the message. This person knew everything. Was watching everything. Who were they? I typed, "Who are you? Why are you helping me?" 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then, "Because I was you once. He destroyed me and got away with it. I won't let him do it again. There's more you need to know. Meet me tonight. 8 p.m. Lagoon Restaurant. Come alone." Every instinct screamed danger. This could be a trap. A setup. Another layer of Emeka's plan. But what choice did I have? I was being investigated by the EFCC. My own mother didn't believe me. Emeka was systematically destroying my reputation, my finances, my sanity. I needed an ally. Even a mysterious, potentially dangerous one. I texted back, "I'll be there." The response came immediately, "Bring the photos from the envelope." And Amara? Trust no one else. He has people everywhere. I walked back to my hotel, mind racing. Power of attorney. Mental incompetence. If Emeka succeeded, he'd control everything, including whatever he could find of my money. He'd dig until he discovered the offshore accounts, the business deals, the investments. I needed to move my assets somewhere safer. Needed to protect everything I'd built. In my suite, I called Adebayo. "How fast can we set up a trust? Something ironclad, protected from any claims." "A few days, if we rush it." "Why?" "Because Emeka's trying to have me declared incompetent. I need my money protected before he finds it." Adebayo swore softly. "This is getting dangerous, Amara. Maybe you should." "What? Give up? Let him win?" I laughed bitterly. "No. We fight harder. Set up that trust. And Ade. Make me the sole trustee. No co-signers, no beneficiaries he can challenge." After we hung up, I opened my laptop. Time to activate Phase 2 of my plan. I pulled up the social media accounts I'd created weeks ago. Anonymous at first, but tomorrow they'd be linked to my real identity. Posts ready to publish. Photos of Emeka and Ngozi. Screenshots of bank transfers. Testimonies from victims of his fraud. A complete exposure of everything he'd hidden. But first, I needed to know who my mysterious informant was. What they wanted. Why they were risking themselves to help me. My phone buzzed. Funk. "Amara, there's chatter in the business community. People saying you're under investigation for fraud. That you stole from Zenith Bank before they fired you." My stomach dropped. That's not true. Who's saying this? Everyone. It's everywhere. I've had 3 potential investors call to back out. They don't want to be associated with a criminal, I finished. Emeka's working fast. We have contracts signed. They can't just. They can if they claim fraud in the inducement. If they believe I lied to secure their investment. I closed my eyes. Funk, I need you to trust me. I didn't steal from anyone. This is Emika's revenge for me leaving. I believe you, Funk said immediately. But Amara, we need to fix this fast. Our reputation is everything. If these rumors spread, they won't. I promise. I looked at the clock. 5 hours until my meeting. I'm handling it. After we hung up, I pulled out the photos from the envelope, studied them carefully. There, in the background of one shot, a woman. Partially obscured, but definitely watching Emika and Gozi. Young, beautiful, with a distinctive scar on her left cheek. Was that my informant? Another of Emika's victims? I pulled up Instagram, started searching through his followers. It took 20 minutes, but I found her. Obiageli Namdi. 32 years old, lives in Lagos. Her profile was mostly private, but her one public photo showed the same scar. I clicked through to her following list. And there, a connection that made my blood run cold. She followed Detective Kayamaka Nwosu. And Kayamaka followed her back. The EFCC detective and my mysterious informant knew each other. Was this a setup? Is Amara walking into a trap at tonight's meeting? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you've ever felt like everyone was against you, hit like and subscribe. This revenge story is just getting started, and you won't believe what Amara uncovers next. Lagoon Restaurant sat on the edge of Victoria Island, built over the water with a view that stretched across Lagos Harbor. Expensive, exclusive, and packed with Nigeria's elite every night of the week. I arrived 15 minutes early, wearing a simple black dress and my grandmother's gold pendant, one of the few pieces of jewelry I'd managed to take. The hostess led me to a private table in the back, partially screened from the main dining area by decorative bamboo panels. 8 o'clock came and went. No sign of Obiageli Namdi. If that's even who I was meeting. At 8:17, a woman slid into the seat across from me. Not Obiageli. This woman was older, maybe 50, with silver threading through her natural hair and eyes that had seen too much. "You're early," she said, her voice low. "Smart. I've been watching to make sure you weren't followed." "Who are you?" "My name is Adiz Okonkwo. And before you ask, yes, I know Detective Nwosu. She's my daughter." The connection clicked. "Your daughter is investigating my husband." "My daughter is investigating a pattern of fraud that's been bleeding Lagos businesses dry for 3 years. Your husband is just the latest name on a very long list." Adiz signaled a waiter, ordered water for both of us. "But he's also the most dangerous. Because unlike the others, he's smart enough to cover his tracks. And ruthless enough to destroy anyone who gets in his way. Like you." Her smile was bitter. "No. Like my other daughter. Obiageli. The woman in the photo. What happened to her?" 5 years ago, Obiageli was a rising architect. Brilliant, passionate, with a client list that included some of Lagos's biggest developers. She met your husband at a networking event. He charmed her, courted her, promised her the world. Adiz's voice hardened. They dated for 8 months. She thought she'd found her soulmate. Then she discovered he was married. To who? His first wife. Ndidi Okafor. You didn't know. Adiz pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. A beautiful woman with soft eyes and a warm smile. They were married for 4 years. He left her the same way he's leaving you, with nothing. Except Ndidi also left with something else. Their daughter. The world tilted. He has a child? A daughter. Chioma. She'd be 8 now. Adiz swiped to another photo. A little girl with Emika's eyes and dimples, grinning at the camera. After the divorce, Ndidi moved back to her village in Anambra State. Emika sends no money, acknowledges no responsibility. According to him, the child doesn't exist. I thought of our 2 years of trying to conceive. The doctors, the tests, the emotional roller coaster every month. He told me he wanted children. That we were in it together. He tells everyone what they want to hear. Adiz's expression softened. When Obiageli found out about Ndidi and Chioma, she confronted him. Threatened to expose him to his business partners, his family, everyone. That's when he showed his true nature. The scar on Obiageli's cheek. What did he do? He had her attacked. 3 men, late one night outside her apartment. Beat her badly enough to put her in the hospital for 2 weeks. The scar on her face is permanent. But the worst damage was to her career. He spread rumors that she'd stolen from clients, fabricated evidence, had people who'd worked with her arrested on false charges. Adi's voice cracked. My brilliant daughter became untouchable. No one would hire her. No one would work with her. She lost everything. Why didn't she go to the police? She tried. But Emeka has connections everywhere. Judges, politicians, senior officers. Her case was dismissed. Evidence disappeared. Witnesses recanted. Adi's met my eyes. That's why Kayamaka joined the EFCC. To find a way to bring him down legally, with evidence so solid he can't escape it. The anonymous messages, the photos, the warnings, all orchestrated by a family seeking justice. So your daughter is investigating him. But that doesn't explain why you're helping me. Because you're different from his other victims. You have resources, intelligence, and most importantly, you have nothing left to lose. Adiz leaned forward. Ndidi was a village girl with no connections. Obiageli was young and naive. But you were a bank executive, you have powerful friends, and from what I've learned, you've been preparing for this fight longer than he realizes. How much did they know? What makes you think that? The offshore accounts. The business venture in Dubai. The severance package you didn't actually receive from Zenith Bank. Adiz smiled at my expression. Kayamaka is very thorough. She can't use that information officially without proper warrants. But off the record? She knows you've been planning your exit for months. And she knows Emeka has no idea how much you're really worth. I should be worried about the EFCC knowing my business. Instead, I felt relief. So what do you want from me? Help us bring him down. Not just for fraud, that's too easy. He'll pay fines, maybe serve a few months, then be back in business. Adiz's eyes hardened. We want him destroyed completely. Reputation, finances, freedom, everything. How? Kayamaka's investigation has strict legal limits. But you're his wife. You have access to places, people, information she can't get through official channels. Adiz pulled out a small envelope. This is a list of his business associates. Men who've helped him launder money, forge documents, threaten victims. We need evidence linking them to specific crimes. Evidence that can stand up in court. I took the envelope. This is dangerous. If he finds out, he'll do to you what he did to Obiageli. Or worse. Adiz's expression was grave. I won't lie to you, Amara. Working with us puts you at risk. But you're already at risk. He's already trying to destroy you. At least this way, you fight back with support. I opened the envelope. 12 names, addresses, known associates. Some I recognized from Emeka's business dinners. Others were strangers. What kind of evidence are we talking about? Documents, recordings, financial records. Anything that proves conspiracy, fraud, money laundering. Adiz pulled out a small device the size of a USB drive. This is a recording device. Looks like a pendant, but it captures everything within 20 feet. High-quality audio that's admissible in court. I studied the device. You want me to wear a wire? Not exactly. The EFCC can't officially sanction this. Kayamaka could lose her job. This is personal. Justice that the system won't deliver. Adiz's voice dropped. There's a charity gala tomorrow night. Eco Hotel. Emeka will be there with Ngozi, playing the grieving husband whose unstable wife abandoned him. Half of Lagos's elite will be there, including 4 men on that list. He won't talk to me. He'll have me thrown out. He won't see you. You'll be in disguise, working as a server. I have connections with the catering company. Adiz smiled slightly. Rich men don't notice the help. They talk freely around servers, especially after a few drinks. You'll hear things, record things, that Kayamika could never access officially. It was insane. Risky beyond measure. If Emika recognized me, if I got caught. My phone buzzed. Text from Mama. Emika showed me medical records from a psychiatrist. Says you've been suffering from delusions, paranoia. Amara, please get help. We love you. Medical records. He'd actually manufactured evidence of mental illness. I looked at Adiz. I'm in. What do I need to do? Relief flashed across her face. Meet me tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll have your uniform, credentials, everything you need. Memorize those names tonight. Learn their faces. They're the key to everything. And if I get solid evidence, what then? You bring it to me. I pass it to Kayamika through channels that protect everyone. She builds her case, makes arrests, and Emika goes to prison for a very long time. Adiz stood. One more thing. That trust fund you're setting up? Make sure it includes provisions for Chioma, Emika's daughter. When this is over, she'll need support. And it would destroy him to know his money is going to the child he abandoned. After she left, I sat alone at the table, the pendant recording device heavy in my palm. Across the restaurant, Lagos's wealthy and powerful laughed and dined, oblivious to the storms brewing in other people's lives. I thought about Ndidi, abandoned with a child. About Obiageli, her career destroyed, her face scarred. About all the women Emika had used and discarded over the years. My phone rang. Adebayo. Amara, we have a problem. Emika's filed a motion to freeze all your assets pending the outcome of his fraud investigation. Judge granted a temporary order. Any accounts in your name are locked for the next 30 days. My heart stopped. The offshore accounts? Safe for now. They're not in your name directly. But the trust fund? We can't finalize it until the freeze is lifted. Ade, he's trying to corner me. Make me so desperate I'll agree to anything. I know. But there's more. He's filed for divorce on grounds of adultery and mental cruelty. Claims you've been cheating on him for months, that you've been emotionally abusive, that he fears for his safety. I laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. Of course he is. Projection. Accuse me of everything he's guilty of. The hearing is in 3 days. Amara, you need to be there. You need legal representation. But I have to be honest, he's building a compelling case. He has witnesses, documents, even a psychiatrist willing to testify about your mental state. A psychiatrist I've never met. That won't matter if the judge believes his story. And right now, he's very believable. Adebayo's voice was grim. We need to go on the offensive. Fight back hard. But that requires money for investigators, expert witnesses, legal fees. With your accounts frozen. I'll handle it. The offshore accounts weren't frozen. I could wire money through intermediaries, cash transfers that wouldn't trigger alerts. Just prepare for war. I want character witnesses. I want our own investigators. I want every dirty secret about Emika Okafor brought into that courtroom. That's what I needed to hear. Adebayo's tone shifted to all business. Send me everything you have on him. Every photo, every document, every piece of evidence. I'll start building our counterattack. After we hung up, I pulled out the list Adiz had given me. 12 names. 12 men who'd helped my husband build his empire of lies. Tomorrow night, I'd infiltrate their world. Listen to their secrets. Gather the evidence that would bring them all down. My phone buzzed. Unknown number again, but different from before. Mrs. Okafor, this is Ndidi. Adiz gave me your number. I need to tell you something about Emika. Something he never wanted anyone to know. Can we meet? The first wife. The mother of his hidden child. I typed back, when and where? Tomorrow, noon. National Museum in Onneken. I'll be by the Benin Bronzes exhibit. Come alone. What I have to tell you could change everything. I stared at the message. In less than 24 hours, I'd be meeting Emeka's first wife and infiltrating a gala to spy on his criminal associates. All while fighting a legal battle to save my reputation and finances. But as I left the restaurant and walked out into the humid Lagos night, I felt something I hadn't felt since walking in on Emeka and Gozi in our bed. Power. He thought he'd broken me. Thought I'd crumble under the weight of his accusations and manipulations. Instead, I was building an army. Women he'd wronged, officials he'd underestimated, allies he didn't know existed. The revenge I'd been planning was evolving into something bigger. Not just destroying one man, but dismantling an entire network of corruption. My phone buzzed. Funk. Good news. I reached out to the Dubai investors directly, explained the situation. They're standing by us. They said if we can prove the accusations are false within 2 weeks, they'll not only honor their commitment, they'll increase it by 30%. 2 weeks, I repeated. That's all we need. Back at my hotel, I spread the list of names across my desk. Pulled up their social media profiles, their business websites, any public information I could find. Chinedu Obi, real estate developer. 3 corruption investigations that went nowhere. Emeka Alade, not related to my husband despite the shared name. Import-export businessman with suspected ties to smuggling operations. Tund Bakare, lawyer. Defended multiple fraud cases, always got his clients acquitted despite overwhelming evidence. The list went on. Each name a thread in the web Emeka had spun around himself. My phone rang. Mama again. I let it go to voicemail. Listened to her message, Amara, please call me back. Your father wants to talk to you. He says he believes you. That Emeka has always made him uncomfortable. Please, my daughter. Call us. Papa believed me. Through everything, my father's instinct had been right. I called back. Mama answered on the first ring. Put Papa on, I said. A rustle, then his weak voice. Amara, my princess. I'm sorry we doubted you. It's okay, Papa. Emeka is very convincing. No, it's not okay. He coughed, the sound wet and painful. I should have seen it sooner. The way he looked at you, like you were a possession, not a person. I thought I was imagining things. That I was being too protective. Papa, save your strength. Listen to me. When your mother and I got married, we had nothing. But we had respect. Partnership. Love. Another cough. That man never respected you. He tolerated you while you were useful, then threw you away when you weren't. That's not a husband. That's a predator. Tears burned my eyes. I'm going to make him pay, Papa. I promise you. Be careful. Men like that are dangerous when cornered. His voice strengthened slightly. But I know you, Amara. You're strong. Smarter than he ever realized. You'll survive this. You'll thrive. After we said goodbye, I sat in the darkness of my hotel room, the city lights twinkling below. 24 hours from now, I'd be infiltrating a gala, wearing a wire, gathering evidence that could send my husband to prison. Was I scared? Absolutely. But I was also ready. My phone buzzed one more time. Message from Adiz. One more thing. The gala has security cameras. Avoid looking directly at them. And whatever you do, stay away from the West Wing. That's where Emeka conducts his real business. Armed security, no witnesses. If you get caught there, I can't help you. The West Wing. Private meetings, no cameras, no witnesses. Exactly where I needed to be. Drop a comment if you think Amara should risk it all and go to the West Wing. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's gala scene is going to be intense. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments, and share this with anyone who loves a good revenge story. The National Museum in Anakin was nearly empty on a Tuesday afternoon. Most tourists crowded the markets and beaches, leaving the cultural treasures to locals and dedicated history lovers. I found Ndidi by the Benin bronzes, as promised. She was smaller than I'd imagined from her photos, with delicate features and weary eyes that had seen too much pain. A little girl, Chioma, stood beside her, absorbed in a children's book about Nigerian queens. "Amara," Ndidi said softly. "Thank you for meeting me." "Of course." I knelt down to Chioma's level. "Hello. What are you reading?" The girl looked up, and I saw Emeka's eyes staring back at me. His dimples. His smile. Queen Amina of Zaria. She was a warrior. She was, I agreed, one of the strongest women in history. Ndidi touched her daughter's shoulder. "Chioma, go look at the pottery exhibit. Stay where I can see you." After the girl skipped away, Ndidi turned to me. Her expression was complex, sympathy mixed with wariness. "Adiz told me what happened. I'm sorry. I know what you're going through. How did you survive it?" "Barely." Ndidi sat on a bench, and I joined her. When Emeka left, I had nothing. No money, no job, no family support. They disowned me for marrying outside our village. I moved back to Anambra, lived with an aunt who barely tolerated us. Worked 3 jobs to feed Chioma. "He never sent money? Not a single naira." Bitterness edged her voice. "According to him, Chioma isn't his daughter. He claims I cheated, that the child is someone else's. Everyone in his family believes him." I thought of the fertility doctors, the tests, the carefully timed attempts at conception. We tried for 2 years to have a baby. He blamed my career stress, my age, everything but himself. But he already had a child he'd abandoned. "That's not why I asked you here." Ndidi glanced at Chioma, making sure she was still occupied. "There's something about Emeka that even Adiz doesn't know. Something that could destroy him completely if it came out." My pulse quickened. "What?" "His business partner. The silent investor who funds most of Okafor Global Construction." Ndidi's voice dropped to a whisper. "It's Chief Okonkwo. The politician. Chief Richard Okonkwo. Senator. Former governor. One of the most powerful men in Lagos politics." "That's impossible," I said. "Chief Okonkwo is Emeka's father." The words hung between us like a bomb waiting to detonate. "His father," I repeated stupidly. "But Emeka's father died when he was young. He told me." He lied. Chief Okonkwo had an affair with Emeka's mother, a housemaid in his family compound. When she got pregnant, he paid her off and denied everything. Emeka grew up knowing who his father was but never being acknowledged. Ndidi pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. Young Emeka, maybe 16, standing beside Chief Okonkwo at what looked like a private meeting. Emeka found him when he was in university. Confronted him. Instead of claiming him publicly, the chief made a deal. Financial support, business connections, political protection, in exchange for absolute secrecy. Why not just acknowledge him? Because Chief Okonkwo's political career is built on family values, Christian morality, traditional marriage. An illegitimate son, especially one with a housemaid, would destroy that image. Plus, his legitimate children would fight the inheritance. No, better to keep Emeka as a secret asset. A proxy who can handle the dirty business while the chief maintains his clean reputation. The pieces fell into place. The connections that saved Emeka when charges were filed. The investigations that went nowhere. The witnesses who recanted. How do you know this? Emeka told me. Early in our marriage, when he still trusted me. He was drunk, angry about something the chief had made him do. He said, Ndidi's voice caught. He said he'd never be free. That his father owned him completely. That everything he'd built was really his father's empire. Do you have proof? Some. Didi pulled out a flash drive. Bank transfers from one of the chief's shell companies to Okafor Global Construction. Emails discussing the arrangement. Photos from their private meetings. I've been collecting evidence for 5 years, waiting for the right moment. Why now? Why give this to me? Because you're the first person with the resources to actually use it. Adiz and Kayamaka are constrained by law enforcement protocols. They can't investigate a sitting senator without ironclad probable cause and multiple layers of approval. Didi pressed the flash drive into my palm. But you're a private citizen. A scorned wife seeking justice. You can leak this information, create public pressure, force investigations that the EFCC can't start on their own. I closed my fingers around the flash drive. If I expose this, Chief Okonkwo will come after me with everything he has. He will, Didi agreed. But he'll also have to choose between protecting himself and protecting Emeka. And the chief always chooses himself first. Emeka's protection will evaporate the moment the scandal breaks. Why give me this instead of using it yourself? Didi looked at her daughter, still absorbed in her book. Because I have Chioma to protect. If I go after Emeka directly, he'll retaliate through her. But you have nothing to lose. And everything to gain. She was right. I had no children to threaten, no vulnerable family members Emeka could target. Just myself. There's one more thing on that drive, Didi said. Proof that Emeka killed someone. My blood went cold. What? A business partner. 5 years ago. Man named Femi Adeyemi. He discovered Emeka was embezzling from their joint venture, threatened to go to the police. Didi's voice was flat, emotionless, as if she'd told this story too many times in her head. Femi died in a car accident. Brake failure on 3rd Mainland Bridge. His car went into the lagoon. That could have been an accident. It was. Except the mechanic who serviced Femi's car the day before disappeared. And 2 weeks later, 50,000 naira appeared in his wife's account from one of Emeka's shell companies. Didi met my eyes. I have the bank transfer. The mechanic's testimony before he vanished. He recorded a video confession, sent it to his wife for safekeeping. All on that drive. Murder. This had escalated from fraud and betrayal to murder. Why didn't you go to the police? I tried. Remember? Everything disappeared. Evidence vanished. The mechanic's wife recanted, said she'd made it all up for attention. Didi's laugh was bitter. Chief Okonkwo's reach extends everywhere. But if this information becomes public, if journalists start investigating, if social media gets hold of it, then it's too big to bury. I stared at the flash drive. A weapon that could destroy not just Emeka, but one of Nigeria's most powerful politicians. If I use this, I'm declaring war on the entire Okonkwo family. You're already at war, Didi pointed out. Emeka's already trying to destroy you. At least this way, you have ammunition. Chioma ran back over, clutching a museum pamphlet. Mama, can we get this? It has pictures of all the queens. Of course, my love. Didi's expression softened as she looked at her daughter. Then back at me. Make him pay, Amara. Not just for us, but for every woman he's destroyed. Every life he's ruined. Make sure everyone knows what kind of monster he really is. After they left, I sat alone with the flash drive burning a hole in my pocket. Around me, bronze artifacts gazed down from the walls, kings and queens from centuries past, frozen in metal, their stories preserved forever. What story would I leave behind? Victim or victor? My phone rang. Adiz. Change of plans for tonight. The gala's been moved up 2 hours. You need to be at the service entrance at 4 p.m. sharp, not 6 p.m. Can you make it? I checked my watch. 2 hours. I'll be there. Good. And Amara? We got intel that Chief Okonkwo will be at the gala. With Emeka. This is bigger than we thought. I know, I said. I know exactly how big it is. After we hung up, I called Adebayo. I'm sending you a file. Encrypt it, make copies, store them in multiple secure locations. If anything happens to me, this information needs to get out. Amara, what's going on? Insurance. Just do it. And Ade. If I don't contact you by midnight tonight, go to the media with everything. Hold nothing back. You're scaring me. Good. Be scared. But trust me. I paused. And thank you for believing in me when no one else did. At 3:45 p.m., I stood outside the service entrance of Eco Hotel, wearing a server's uniform Adiz had provided. Black pants, white shirt, bow tie. Hair pulled back in a severe bun. Glasses with clear lenses to change my face's shape. The recording pendant around my neck, hidden under my collar. Remember, Adiz had said when she'd given me the equipment. You're invisible. Servers are part of the furniture. Keep your head down, speak only when spoken to, and record everything you can. The service manager checked my forged credentials, barely glancing at my face. You're on champagne duty. Circulate through the main ballroom, keep glasses full, ears open and mouth shut. Got it. Yes, sir. Inside, the ballroom was a spectacle of wealth and power. Crystal chandeliers, gold-trimmed walls, tables laden with delicacies most Nigerians would never taste. Women in designer gowns and men in handmade suits, Lagos's elite, gathered to celebrate themselves under the guise of charity. And there, near the main stage, I saw him. Emeka. Wearing a tuxedo I'd never seen before, Ngozi on his arm in a red dress that probably cost more than most people's yearly salary. They laughed, accepted condolences about his troubled wife, played the perfect grieving couple. Rage burned in my chest, but I forced it down. Invisible. I was invisible. I grabbed a tray of champagne flutes and began circulating. Past senators and businessmen. Past judges and CEOs. Each conversation a glimpse into Lagos's corrupt heart. The land deal went through. Governor signed off this morning. Bribes cost us $3 million, but we'll make it back in the first month. Make sure the journalist doesn't ask about the missing funds. I drifted past, recording everything, committing faces to memory. Then I saw him. Chief Okonkwo. Tall, distinguished, with gray at his temples and the bearing of a man who'd never been denied anything in his life. He stood in a corner with 3 other men, their heads bent in serious conversation. I moved closer, refilling champagne glasses at a nearby table. Problem needs to be handled quietly, the chief was saying. My son's situation is becoming complicated. My son. He'd actually admitted it, in private. The wife is causing trouble, another man said. Tund Bakar, the lawyer from Adiz's list. She's been talking to people, asking questions. We need to discredit her completely before she gets any traction. Already handled, Chief Okonkwo said dismissively. Medical records, witness statements, a history of mental illness. By next week, no one will believe anything she says. And if that doesn't work? Tund asked. Then we use other methods. The chief's voice went cold. My son knows what to do. He's handled problems before. Femi Adeyemi. The car accident. The dead mechanic. My hand shook, champagne nearly sloshing out of the glass I held. You. A sharp voice. I turned. Ngozi, staring at me with narrowed eyes. Don't I know you? My heart stopped. The disguise. Did she see through it? No, ma'am, I said, pitching my voice lower. Must be thinking of someone else. She studied me for a long moment, then shrugged. Maybe. You people all look the same to me anyway. The casual racism, the dismissive cruelty. This was the woman I'd called family. I moved away before she could look closer. But I'd been noticed. Time to be more careful. Excuse me, miss. A hand on my arm. I turned, found myself face to face with Emeka. He didn't recognize me. Looked right through me. More champagne. And make sure it's the French label, not the local rubbish. "Of course, sir," I murmured, head down, already turning away. "Wait." His voice stopped me cold. "You look familiar." My pulse thundered. "I have a common face, sir." He studied me, and I saw the gears turning behind his eyes. "Trying to place me. Have you worked here before?" "Yes, sir. Many times." "Ah, that must be it." He dismissed me with a wave. But his eyes lingered as I walked away. Too close. I needed to get to the West Wing, get the real evidence, and get out before he figured it out. But as I headed toward the restricted area, a hand grabbed my shoulder. "Security guard, built like a wall. Servers aren't allowed past this point," he said. "Turn around." I was told to deliver champagne. Turn around. Now. I complied, walking back toward the main ballroom. But I'd seen enough through the doorway. A long corridor. Closed doors. And at the end, Chinedu Obi and Emeka Alade entering a room together. The real deals were happening back there. The crimes Adiz needed evidence of. I had to find another way in. Did the security guard really not recognize her, or is Amara about to get caught? Comment if you think she should abort the mission or push forward. And don't forget to like and subscribe for the next chapter. Things are about to get dangerous. Share this with someone who loves high-stakes drama. The bathroom in the service hallway was my temporary refuge. I locked myself in a stall, hands shaking, trying to think. Emeka had almost recognized me. One more close encounter and the entire operation would collapse. But I was so close. The West Wing held the evidence I needed, the real proof of their conspiracy. Walking away now meant walking away from justice. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Guard shift change in 10 minutes. West Wing will be unattended for 3 minutes maximum. Side door. Second corridor. Go now or never. Another mysterious informant? Or a trap? I checked the recording pendant. Still working, battery at 67%. Enough for what I needed to do. The hallway outside was empty when I emerged. I grabbed a room service cart someone had left unattended, perfect cover, and wheeled it toward the side corridor. "Act like you belong," Adiz had said. "Confidence sells the lie." The West Wing side entrance was exactly where the text promised. No guard in sight. I slipped through, leaving the cart in the hallway, and found myself in the corridor I'd glimpsed earlier. Muffled voices came from the room at the end. I crept closer, staying against the wall, activating the recording pendant with a subtle touch. "Shipment arrives Thursday," someone was saying. Chinedu Obi's voice. 12 containers. Customs is paid off, documentation is clean. "And the real contents?" Emeka Alade asked. "Electronics. Officially. Actually. Pharmaceuticals. Unregulated, untested, but profitable. We'll clear 200 million in the first month alone. Distribution network already established. Private clinics across Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. They'll sell to anyone, no questions asked." Chinedu laughed. "Poor people desperate for cheap medicine. They won't know the difference until it's too late." My stomach churned. Fake drugs. They were planning to flood Nigeria with counterfeit pharmaceuticals that could kill people. What about the factory in China? That was Emeka, my Emeka, his voice as casual as if discussing dinner plans. Still providing quality that passes basic inspection? Quality enough. Some batches might be weaker than advertised, some might have side effects, but nothing traceable back to us. The factory owner has his own quality control issues to worry about. Footsteps. I pressed myself into a recessed doorway as someone passed. Tund Bakar, the lawyer, carrying a briefcase. He knocked on the meeting room door. "Gentlemen, the contracts." I couldn't see inside from my position, but I heard papers rustling. Tund's voice. "Everything structured through shell companies. 3 layers deep. Even if authorities investigate, they won't be able to connect it to any of you." "And my father?" Emeka asked. His name stays off everything? The chief is completely insulated, Tund confirmed. Officially, he knows nothing. Unofficially, his 30% stake is protected through offshore trusts that can't be penetrated without international warrants that will never come. 30%. Chief Okonkwo was the major investor in an operation that would poison Nigeria's poor with fake medicine. One problem, Chinedu said. There's an investigative journalist sniffing around. Mercy Okiri from The Guardian. She's been asking questions about pharmaceutical imports, suspicious customs clearances. Buy her off, Emeka said immediately. Tried. She refused. A pause. Then Emeka's voice, cold and flat. Then handle it the other way. You sure? Another accident so soon after. I said handle it. Steel in his tone. We're talking about 200 million naira. I won't let one self-righteous journalist ruin this. They were planning to kill a reporter. Kill her for doing her job. I had to move, had to get this recording to safety before. The door opened suddenly. Tund Bakare stepped out, pulling out his phone. He was heading straight toward my hiding spot. I pressed myself deeper into the doorway, but there was nowhere to go. In seconds, he'd see me. Think. I stepped out confidently, pushing an imaginary cart. Pardon me, sir. Wrong corridor. Tund barely glanced at me. Servers aren't supposed to be back here. I know, sir. I'm lost. The kitchen. Back that way, left, then right. He waved dismissively, already focused on his phone call. I walked away quickly, fighting the urge to run. Behind me, I heard the meeting room door close again. I'd gotten it. The entire conversation, recorded in crystal-clear audio. Conspiracy to distribute counterfeit drugs. Discussion of murder. Chief Okonkwo's involvement. This wasn't just evidence. This was a nuclear bomb. I made it to the service hallway, found the bathroom again, and locked myself in. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone to call Adiz. No signal. Too deep in the building. I'd have to get out first, get somewhere secure, then. The bathroom door opened. Heels on tile. Then Ngozi's voice. I know you're in here. My blood froze. I saw you sneak into the West Wing. Watched you hide from Tund. Her voice was venomous. Did you really think I wouldn't recognize you, Amara? Glasses and a bun. Please. I opened the stall door slowly. No point hiding now. Ngozi stood there, arms crossed, a triumphant smile on her face. You're even more pathetic than I thought. Disguising yourself as a server? Spying on your own husband. Ex-husband, I corrected. And I wasn't spying. I was gathering evidence. Evidence of what? That he's moved on? That he's successful while you're serving champagne. She laughed. This is delicious. Wait until I tell Emeka. He'll have you arrested for trespassing. Tell him, I said calmly. But first, listen to this. I pulled out my phone, played back the recording I'd just captured. Watched Ngozi's face as she heard Emeka's voice discussing fake pharmaceuticals, planned murders, massive fraud. Her smile faltered. That's not real. It's very real. And in about 30 minutes, it'll be in the hands of the EFCC, multiple journalists, and posted across social media. I stepped closer. Your boyfriend isn't just a cheater, Ngozi. He's a criminal. And now you're an accessory. I didn't know. Didn't know he was planning to kill a journalist? Didn't know about the counterfeit drugs? Or did you just not care as long as the money kept flowing? I shook my head. Either way, when this goes public, you're going down with him. Fear replaced her triumph. You can't do this. The chief will destroy you. The chief will be too busy saving himself to worry about me. I moved toward the door. Get out of my way, Ngozi. No. She blocked the exit. I won't let you ruin this. Emeka loves me. We're building a life together. I'm not letting you destroy it because you're bitter and jealous. He doesn't love you, I said quietly. He's using you the same way he used me. The same way he's used every woman in his life. And when you're no longer useful, he'll throw you away like garbage. You're lying. Am I? Did he tell you about his first wife? His daughter? The architect whose face he had scarred? The business partner who died in a suspicious accident? I watched realization dawn in her eyes. You think you're special, but you're just the latest victim who doesn't know it yet. Ngozi's hand shot out, grabbing for my phone. Give me that recording. We struggled, and the phone clattered to the floor. She dove for it, but I was faster. I kicked it under the stall partition, then shoved her hard. She stumbled backward into the sink. Security! She screamed. Help! Security! Footsteps thundered in the hallway. Time was up. I grabbed my phone and ran for the window, one of those bathroom windows that opened onto a side alley. Too small for Ngozi in her tight dress, but I was smaller, more desperate. I squeezed through as the bathroom door burst open. Heard Ngozi shrieking, "She's escaping!" The window! I dropped into the alley, landing hard on the pavement. Pain shot through my ankle, but adrenaline overrode it. I ran. Behind me, shouts. Security pouring into the alley. But I knew Lagos. Knew the shortcuts and side streets. I ducked into a market, weaving between stalls of fabric and electronics. Lost myself in the crowd of evening shoppers. Kept moving, kept changing direction, until I was sure I'd lost them. Finally, in a quiet corner, I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. Called Adiz. I have it, I gasped. Everything. The drug smuggling, the murder plan, Chief Okonkwo's involvement. All recorded. Are you safe? For now. But they know it was me. Ngozi recognized me. Then we move fast. Meet me at the safe house. I'll text you the address. And Amara? Don't go back to your hotel. Don't go anywhere predictable. They'll be looking for you. The safe house was in Surulere, a middle-class neighborhood where no one would think to look for a former bank executive. Adiz met me at the door, pulled me inside quickly. Kayamika was there too, in casual clothes instead of her detective uniform. You got it. I handed over my phone. They listened to the recording, faces growing grimmer with each revelation. This is it, Kayamika breathed. This is everything we need. Conspiracy, intent to distribute harmful substances, planned murder, racketeering. She looked up at me. Do you understand what you've done? This doesn't just take down Emeka. This brings down Chief Okonkwo. This exposes an entire network. I understand. My ankle throbbed where I'd landed wrong. What happens now? Now we move fast before they can cover their tracks. Kayamika was already on her phone. I'm calling my superior. We'll need warrants, coordinated raids, media blackout until we have everyone in custody. She paused. Amara, once this goes public, your life changes forever. You'll be the woman who brought down a senator. Some people will call you a hero. Others will call you a traitor. Death threats are almost guaranteed. I know. And there's no going back. Once we arrest Chief Okonkwo, his entire network will come after you. Every lawyer, every politician in his pocket, every criminal who owes him favors. Adiz's voice was grave. Are you absolutely sure you want to do this? I thought about Ndidi, raising Chioma alone in poverty while Emeka lived in luxury. About Obi Ajili, her face scarred, her career destroyed. About Femi Adeyemi, drowned in the lagoon because he discovered the truth. About Mercy Okori, the journalist they were planning to kill for asking questions. I'm sure, I said. Let's burn it all down. Kayamika made her call. I heard her explaining the situation to her superior, requesting emergency warrants, outlining the evidence. When she hung up, her expression was intense. They're green-lit. Raids begin at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Simultaneous arrests across Lagos, Emeka, Chief Okonkwo, Chinedu, Tund, Emeka Alade, everyone on the recording plus everyone on our existing investigation list. She turned to me. You need to be in protective custody. Starting now. What about my business? My partners? They'll be vulnerable. Already thought of that. Adiz pulled out a laptop. We're contacting Funk tonight, getting her into protective custody too. Anyone who might be targeted as leverage against you gets protection. My phone buzzed. 17 missed calls from Emeka. 12 from unknown numbers. And one text from Mama, Amara, what have you done? Emeka says you've gone insane, that you attacked people at a charity event. Please come home. Let us help you. Even now, even after everything, he was spinning the narrative. Making me the villain. I texted back, Mama, turn on the news tomorrow morning. You'll understand everything. Another buzz. This time from Adebayo, Amara, I just got served with an emergency restraining order. Emeka claims you're dangerous, that you threatened him. Judge granted it. You're not allowed within 500 meters of him or any of his properties. Call me immediately. I showed the message to Kayamaka. She smiled coldly. Won't matter in 12 hours. He'll be the one behind bars. He knows, I said slowly. The restraining order, he knows I have something. He's trying to discredit me preemptively, make sure if I go public, no one believes me. Smart, Kayamaka admitted. But not smart enough. We have the recording. We have corroborating evidence from our investigation. Your credibility doesn't matter when we have him on tape planning murder. Adiz handed me a burner phone. Your regular phone is probably being tracked. Use this from now on. Only contact people you absolutely trust. I took it, feeling the weight of the last few hours settling on me. What about Ngozi? What about her? She heard part of the recording. She knows I have evidence. Will you arrest her too? Kayamaka and Adiz exchanged glances. She's not mentioned in the recording. And unless we can prove she knew about the criminal enterprise beforehand, we have no grounds to arrest her. She's a cheater and a terrible cousin, but cheating isn't illegal. So she gets away with it. Not exactly. Adiz's smile was sharp. When Emeka goes to prison, what do you think happens to her? No money, no status, no protection. Just a woman who destroyed her family for a man who's serving 20 years. It would have to be enough. My burner phone rang. Unknown number. I looked at Kayamaka, who nodded. The phone was secure. Hello. Mrs. Okafor. A man's voice, cultured and cold. This is Chief Okonkwo. I believe we should talk. My blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? I have resources you can't imagine. Now listen carefully. Whatever you think you know, whatever evidence you believe you have, it won't matter. I have judges, prosecutors, journalists, police commissioners in my pocket. You cannot win this fight. Is that a threat? It's a fact. But I'm a reasonable man. I'm willing to make this go away. His tone turned almost friendly. 10 million naira. Deposited in any account you choose. In exchange, you forget everything you heard tonight, you drop your divorce proceedings, and you leave Lagos. Start fresh somewhere else. England, perhaps. America. I'll even arrange a visa. You want to pay me off. I want to solve this problem efficiently. You're a smart woman, Mrs. Okafor. Surely you understand that fighting me is suicide. I've destroyed people far more powerful than you. I looked at Kayamaka, who was frantically signaling. Keep him talking, they're tracing the call. And if I refuse? I asked. Then you'll suffer the same fate as everyone else who's crossed my family. Accidents happen. Disappearances happen. Sometimes people simply stop being problems. His voice hardened. Your parents are elderly. Your father is ill. It would be tragic if something happened to them while you were being stubborn. He was threatening my parents. Threatening Papa, who was already dying slowly from kidney disease. Rage burned through my fear. You listen to me, Chief. I'm not some frightened village girl you can bully. And I'm not stupid enough to think you'd let me live even if I took your money. You'd pay me off, then have me killed the first chance you got. You're right, he said calmly. I would. But at least you'd have a chance to run. Turn me down, and there's nowhere to run to. I'm not running. And tomorrow morning, the entire country will know exactly what kind of monster you are. Silence. Then a sound that might have been a laugh. You have no idea what you've started, girl. No idea who you're dealing with. But you'll learn. You'll learn, and you'll regret it, and then you'll beg for the mercy I'm offering now. The line went dead. I was shaking. Kayamika took the phone gently from my hand. We traced it. Calling from a burner, but we triangulated the location. He's at his estate in Ikoyi. Which means we know where he'll be when we raid at dawn. He threatened my parents. We're already sending officers to their home. They'll have protection. Adiz squeezed my shoulder. He's scared, Amara. That's why he called. Scared men make mistakes. A laptop chimed. Kayamika opened it, and her face lit up. The warrants came through. All 12 of them. Plus the prosecutor's office has agreed to charge Chief Okonkwo with racketeering, conspiracy, and accessory to attempted murder based on the recording. What about the journalist? I asked. Mercy Okari. They were planning to kill her tonight. Already handled. We sent officers to her apartment an hour ago. She's in protective custody. Kayamika pulled up a photo, a young woman with kind eyes and determination written across her face. She's been working on this story for 6 months. Had pieces of it, but not enough to publish. Your recording gives her everything she needs. Will she be safe? Safer than she was this morning. And after tomorrow, when everyone on her hit list is behind bars, she'll be able to finish her investigation without looking over her shoulder. I sank onto the safe house couch, exhaustion finally catching up with me. 24 hours ago, I'd been planning to infiltrate a gala. Now I'd recorded a criminal conspiracy, escaped security, and been threatened by one of Nigeria's most powerful politicians. Try to sleep, Adiz said gently. Tomorrow will be chaos. Media frenzy, legal proceedings, interviews. You'll need your strength. I don't think I can sleep. Try anyway. She handed me a blanket. Kayamika and I will be here all night. You're safe. But as I lay there in the darkness, I wondered if I'd ever feel truly safe again. Chief Okonkwo's threat echoed in my mind. You have no idea what you've started. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just declared war on forces I couldn't comprehend. But it was too late to turn back now. My burner phone buzzed. Text from Funk. Just got picked up by EFCC. They said you're okay? What's happening? I texted back, tomorrow. Everything will make sense tomorrow. Trust me. Another text, this one from Didi. Heard through the grapevine that something big is happening. Whatever you're doing, thank you. For Chioma. For all of us. And finally, one from Adebayo. I don't know what you're planning, but your divorce hearing is postponed indefinitely. Judge received new evidence that requires review. Amara, please tell me you know what you're doing. I typed back, I do. And Ade. Make sure you're watching the news tomorrow. You'll want to see this. At 5:47 a.m., I jerked awake to the sound of helicopters. Kayamika was on her phone, barking orders. Adiz stood by the window, watching something in the distance. It's starting, she said. The raids. I joined her at the window. In the pre-dawn light, I could see flashing police lights in the distance. Multiple locations. Synchronized. Kayamika hung up. They have Emeka. Arrested at the Ikoyi apartment. He fought, tried to run. They tasered him. A small, vicious part of me was glad. Chief Okonkwo. Arrested at his estate. His lawyers are already screaming about immunity, illegal searches, persecution. Kayamaka smiled. Won't help. We have airtight warrants and evidence that would convict him in any court. The others. Chinedu Obi, arrested. Tund Bakare, arrested. Emeka allayed. Still searching, but we'll find him. She checked her phone. The pharmaceutical shipment has been seized at the port. 12 containers of counterfeit drugs that will never make it to market. I thought about all the lives saved. People who would never know how close they'd come to being poisoned by fake medicine. What happens now? Now we go public. Kayamaka pulled up a press release on her laptop. EFCC is holding a press conference at 8 a.m. Your recording will be played in part, edited to remove your identity as the source. The prosecutor will announce charges. And by noon, every news outlet in Nigeria will be running the story. What about me? Do I have to testify? Eventually, yes. But we'll keep you anonymous for as long as possible. Protected witness status. She met my eyes. But Amara, you should know, Emeka is already talking. Trying to make a deal. He's claiming you seduced information out of him, that you entrapped him, that this is all revenge for the affair. Of course he was. Will anyone believe that? Not once they hear the recording. Not once they see the evidence we've been building for months. Kayamaka's voice was firm. He's desperate. Let him talk. It just makes him look guiltier. At 8 a.m., we watched the press conference on television. The EFCC director stood at a podium, flanked by prosecutors and senior officials. Behind him, photos of Emeka, Chief Okonkwo, and the other arrested men. This morning, we've executed the largest coordinated operation against organized crime in Lagos's history, the director announced. 12 arrests, including a sitting senator, on charges ranging from fraud to conspiracy to commit murder. The room full of journalists erupted. Questions shouted, cameras flashing. The director raised his hand for silence. We have irrefutable evidence of a criminal enterprise that spans multiple industries and has victimized countless Nigerians. Evidence that includes recorded confessions, financial records, and testimony from witnesses. He played 30 seconds of the recording. Emeka's voice, clear and cold. Then handle it the other way. The journalists went wild. That is Chukwuemeka Okafor, CEO of Okafor Global Construction, discussing the planned murder of an investigative journalist. We have similar evidence of pharmaceutical fraud, money laundering, and embezzlement. My phone, the regular one, not the burner, started ringing incessantly. Reporters who'd gotten my number somehow. Friends and colleagues seeing the news. Even my mother. I answered that one. Mama. Amara. Her voice broke. That man on the television. That's your husband. Yes, Mama. And you're the one who caught him? Yes. Silence. Then, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. That I took his side. If I had known. You couldn't have known, Mama. He fooled everyone. Your papa wants to talk to you. A rustle, then his weak voice. My daughter. My brave, brilliant daughter. You did what was right even when it was dangerous. I'm proud of you. Tears streamed down my face. Thank you, Papa. Come home soon. When this is over. We miss you. I will. I promise. After we hung up, I watched the press conference continue. The prosecutor announcing charges. Journalists shouting questions about Chief Okonkwo's involvement, his political future, whether other officials were implicated. And through it all, I felt something unexpected. Not triumph. Not satisfaction. Just exhaustion mixed with relief. It was done. The truth was out. Whatever happened next, at least the lies had been exposed. This is insane. Comment below if you think the chief will try to retaliate even from behind bars. And don't forget to subscribe for the final chapter where we see what happens to Amara, Emeka, and everyone caught in this web. Where are you watching from? Let us know. This is the revenge story of the year. 3 months later, I stood on the balcony of my new apartment in Lekki Phase 1, watching the Lagos sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. Behind me, in the spacious living room, Funk reviewed contracts for our 5th round of investment funding. "The Kenyan deal is confirmed," she called out. "And we just got interest from investors in Tanzania and Ghana. At this rate, we'll be in 10 countries by year's end." Our fintech company, now called Phoenix Rise, because we'd both risen from the ashes of our old lives, was exceeding every projection. The publicity from the trial had been double-edged. Some investors backed away, but others saw our resilience and integrity as exactly the kind of foundation they wanted to support. We distributed our first microloans last month. 237 women across Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt now had seed capital to start businesses. Hair salons, food stalls, tailoring shops, online boutiques. Small dreams given a chance to become reality. My phone rang. Adebayo. "Verdict's in," he said without preamble. "Chief Okonkwo, guilty on all counts. Racketeering, conspiracy, accessory to attempted murder, money laundering." The judge threw the book at him. 25 years, no possibility of parole for at least 15. 25 years. He'd be nearly 80 before he saw freedom again, if he lived that long. And Emeka? 18 years. Plus restitution to all his fraud victims. The court seized his assets to cover it. The Ikoyi apartment, the Lekki mansion, his cars, bank accounts, everything. He'll leave prison with nothing. What about the others? Chinedu Obi, 15 years. Tun Bakare, 10 years, plus disbarment. Emeka Alade is still fighting, but he'll get at least 12. Adebayo paused. They tried every trick, Amara. Character witnesses, procedural challenges, attempts to suppress evidence. Nothing worked. Your recording was too clear, the EFCC's investigation too thorough. And Ngozi wasn't charged. But she's persona non grata in Lagos now. Lost her job, her friends, her reputation. Last I heard, she moved back to Enugu, living with her parents in disgrace. A small, petty part of me was glad. But mostly, I just felt tired. The divorce was finalized yesterday, Adebayo continued. You get nothing from Emeka since his assets are all seized. But you don't need anything from him anyway. No, I agreed, thinking of my offshore accounts, my thriving business, my real fortune that Emeka had never discovered. I don't. After we hung up, I thought about the journey. 4 months since I'd walked in on Emeka and Ngozi. 4 months since my life had imploded and rebuilt itself into something stronger. The trials had been grueling. Weeks of testimony, cross-examination, media scrutiny. I'd testified under heavy security, my identity as the whistleblower eventually becoming public despite protective measures. The death threats had been real and terrifying. Chief Okonkwo's associates didn't take kindly to being exposed. But I'd survived. Thrived, even. Amara. Funk appeared on the balcony beside me. There's someone here to see you. I turned, and there was Ndidi, holding Chioma's hand. The little girl had grown in 3 months, seemed more confident somehow. I hope it's okay we came by, Ndidi said. I wanted to thank you in person. Of course. Come in. Inside, Chioma immediately gravitated to the bookshelves, running her fingers along the spines. You have so many books. You can borrow any you'd like, I told her. Ndidi settled on the couch, looking more at peace than I'd ever seen her. The trust fund you set up, Amara, it's too much. We can't accept. Yes, you can. I sat across from her. Chioma is Emeka's daughter. She deserves support, even if her father won't provide it. The fund is legally structured so it can't be challenged. It'll pay for her education, healthcare, everything she needs until she's 25. Why? Ndidi's eyes filled with tears. After everything, why be so generous? Because none of this was her fault. Because she's an innocent child who deserves better than what her father gave her. I glanced at Chioma, now absorbed in a book about Nigerian history. And because breaking the cycle matters. Emeka was abandoned by his father, and he repeated that pattern. I want Chioma to grow up knowing that some adults keep their promises. Ndidi wiped her eyes. The court ordered Emeka to pay child support from prison earnings. It won't be much, but it's something. Acknowledgement, at least. How do you feel about that? Honestly, I don't want his money. But I want Chioma to know the truth, that a court legally declared he's her father. That she's not a mistake or a lie. Ndidi's voice strengthened. And I want her to see that women can be strong. That we don't need men like him to survive. Amen to that, Funk called from her laptop. We talked for another hour. Ndidi had started working as a teacher in Anambra, finding peace in educating the next generation. Chioma was thriving in school, already talking about becoming a lawyer or a doctor. Their future looked bright. After they left, I checked my email. Message from Mercy Okori, the journalist whose life we'd saved. Dear Mrs. Okafor, my investigative series on pharmaceutical fraud in Nigeria begins publishing tomorrow in The Guardian. It wouldn't exist without your courage. Thank you for risking everything to expose the truth. Attached is an advance copy. I think you'll be pleased with how thoroughly we documented everything. Best regards, Mercy. I opened the attachment. 20,000 words of meticulously researched journalism, exposing not just Emeka's operation but an entire network of counterfeit drug smuggling across West Africa. Names, dates, financial flows, everything laid bare. By tomorrow, the story would be international news. More arrests would follow. More victims would get justice. My phone buzzed. Text from Obiageli, saw the verdict. Justice finally served. Thank you for finishing what I started. Drinks sometime. I texted back, I'd like that. Another text, this one from Detective Kayamaka. Congratulations on the verdict. And thank you, officially and unofficially, for your cooperation. The EFCC has opened 12 new investigations based on leads from your case. You've made a real difference. My mother called. Amara, we saw the news. That awful man is going to prison for 25 years. I know, Mama. Good. Good. She paused. Your father wants you to come home for Sunday dinner. He's feeling stronger this week. And he wants to brag about his daughter to the whole family. I smiled. I'll be there. And Amara? I'm sorry. For not believing you at first. For taking their side. Mama, it's okay. You didn't know. No one did. Still, a mother should trust her daughter. I failed you. You're trusting me now. That's what matters. After she hung up, I stood on the balcony again, watching Lagos settle into evening. The city I'd almost left, the city I'd fought to stay in. My laptop chimed. Email from an American investment firm. Dear Ms. Okafor, we're impressed with Phoenix Rise's mission and growth. We'd like to discuss a $50 million investment to expand your operations globally. Would you be available for a video call next week? $50 million. More money than I'd dreamed possible when I'd started planning my exit from Zenith Bank. I forwarded the email to Funk with a note, thoughts. Her response came immediately, hell yes. Let's change the world. I thought about the path that had brought me here, the betrayal that could have destroyed me, the revenge that could have consumed me, the choice to build instead of simply burning everything down. Emeka was in prison. Chief Okonkwo was in prison. The criminals they'd worked with were in prison. Justice had been served. But more than that, I'd survived. Thrived. Built something meaningful from the ruins of my old life. My phone rang one last time. Unknown number. I debated answering, then did. Mrs. Okafor? A woman's voice, tentative and young. My name is Ifeoma. I don't know if you remember me, but I was one of Emeka's victims. He defrauded my family's construction company 3 years ago. We lost everything. I remember. Her name had been in the trial documents. I'm sorry for what he did to you. Don't be sorry. Be proud. Her voice strengthened. Because of you, we're getting restitution. The court ordered asset seizure, and my family is on the list of creditors. We won't get back everything we lost, but we'll get enough to start rebuilding. I'm glad. There are others like me. Dozens of us. Families, business owners, regular people whose lives he destroyed. And now we're all getting a chance to rebuild because you had the courage to speak up. A pause. I just wanted to say thank you. And to tell you that you're a hero to all of us. I'm not a hero, I said softly. I'm just a woman who refused to be destroyed. Isn't that what heroism is? After she hung up, I stood in the gathering darkness, processing her words. Maybe she was right. Maybe heroism wasn't about grand gestures or fearless bravery. Maybe it was about standing up when it would be easier to stay down. About fighting when it would be safer to run. About choosing justice over vengeance, even when vengeance would be so satisfying. I thought about Emeka in his prison cell, probably still believing he was the victim of some vast conspiracy. Unable to accept that his own actions had consequences. I thought about Chief Okonkwo, the powerful politician brought low by his own corruption and greed. I thought about Ngozi, living with the shame of her choices. And I thought about myself. No longer Mrs. Amara Okafor, faithful wife and bank executive. Now just Amara, entrepreneur, whistleblower, survivor. The fortune I'd hidden was more than money. It was strength I didn't know I had. Courage I'd discovered in the darkest moments. Integrity I'd refused to compromise even when compromise would have been easier. Emeka had pushed me out for losing my job, thinking he was discarding something worthless. He'd had no clue I was hiding more than a fortune in offshore accounts. I was hiding the power to bring down his entire world. And I'd done exactly that. My phone buzzed one final time. Text from an unknown number. He says he'll get revenge when he gets out. Says you'll pay for what you did. Just thought you should know. Someone from the prison, probably. A guard or another inmate passing along Emeka's threats. I deleted the message without responding. Let him threaten. Let him plot. Let him spend the next 18 years planning revenge. By the time he got out, if he survived that long in prison, I'd be untouchable. Phoenix Rise would be a global company. I'd have resources, connections, power he couldn't dream of matching. And more importantly, I'd have moved on. Built a life so full and meaningful that he'd be nothing but a distant memory of a mistake I'd escaped. The sunset faded to darkness, Lagos's lights twinkling to life across the city. Behind me, Funk was on the phone with the American investors, her voice animated and confident. Tomorrow, we'd wake up and continue building. Continue growing. Continue helping women across Africa turn their dreams into reality. But tonight, just for a moment, I let myself feel the victory. Justice served. Truth exposed. Courage rewarded. And a fortune, the real fortune of freedom, strength, and purpose, that no one could ever take from me. Thank you for following Amara's incredible journey of betrayal, courage, and ultimate triumph. Did this story resonate with you? Hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful stories of resilience and revenge, and comment below. What was the most satisfying moment of Amara's revenge? Was it the recording, the arrests, or the final victory of her business success? Share this story with anyone who needs inspiration to stand up against injustice. Remember, sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's building something so powerful that your enemies become irrelevant. Until next time, keep fighting, keep rising, and never let anyone push you down.